Namaskara, and welcome to Dhaiva Darshana, a space where we explore the stories, traditions, history, and philosophy of Sanātana Dharma beyond the surface. Every year, as Ambubachi Mela approaches, the internet fills with discussions about menstruation, tradition, and women's rights. Some see these customs as symbols of oppression. Others defend them without question. But what if the truth is far more nuanced? What if a practice that may have begun with reverence, care, and understanding gradually transformed into something very different? And what if Ambubachi Mela still preserves a clue to that forgotten story? In this video, we'll explore the history behind Ambubachi Mela, the traditions that celebrated womanhood, and how practices that may have begun as care slowly transformed into restrictions as their original meaning was forgotten. If you enjoy thoughtful explorations of Sanatana Dharma, Indian history, mythology, and philosophy, consider subscribing to the channel and becoming a part of our growing community. Now, let's begin our journey. Every year, as the monsoon clouds gather over Assam, thousands of devotees travel to one of India's most sacred and mysterious temples. The temple doors close, the sanctum falls silent, and for 3 days, worship pauses. This is Ambubachi Mela, a festival connected to menstruation. At the heart of this festival stands the Kamakhya temple. Unlike many temples, there is no conventional idol worshipped here. Instead, devotees revere a natural rock formation associated with the divine feminine. According to tradition, this is the period during which the goddess undergoes her annual menstruation. For 3 days, the temple remains closed. No rituals are performed. No devotees enter the sanctum. The goddess rests. Now pause and think about that for a moment. If menstruation was always considered impure, why would an entire festival be built around a menstruating goddess? Why would thousands of devotees travel across the country to celebrate it? Why would a sacred tradition preserve this belief for centuries? The very existence of Ambubachi Mela challenges the simplified narratives we often hear today. Perhaps the story is more complex than we imagine. Ambubachi is not the only example. In Odisha, Raja Parba celebrates womanhood, fertility, and the creative power associated with the feminine. Across many parts of India, a girl's first menstruation has traditionally been marked with ceremonies, blessings, gifts, and gatherings of family and community. These customs varied from region to region. Some continue even today. Others have faded with time. But together, they reveal something important. Menstruation was not always viewed only through the lens of stigma. In many places, it was also acknowledged as a significant milestone, a transition, a celebration, a moment worthy of recognition. The historical picture, therefore, is far more complicated than a simple story of oppression or liberation. Alongside restrictions, there were celebrations. Alongside rules, there was reverence. And alongside social expectations, there was recognition of feminine creative power. To understand how things changed, we must first understand the world in which many of these customs emerged. Life in traditional societies was physically demanding. There were no washing machines, no refrigerators, no modern conveniences. Daily life required constant effort. Women carried a large share of this responsibility, fetching water, grinding grain, cooking meals from scratch, maintaining households, caring for children, and often doing all of this from sunrise to sunset. Now imagine experiencing menstrual discomfort while carrying these responsibilities every day. In such a world, being excused from certain tasks could have been meaningful. Being encouraged to rest could have been an act of care. Similarly, many ritual practices required fasting, long hours of standing, extensive preparation, and considerable physical effort. Being exempted from these activities may have functioned as a form of relief, a chance to pause, a chance to recover, a chance to simply rest. But traditions often face a challenge. People remember the rule and forget the reason. The instruction survives, the context disappears, the ritual remains, the meaning fades. And when that happens, even a well-intentioned practice can slowly transform into something very different. Perhaps this is where the story takes a difficult turn. A custom that once provided rest can become restrictive when choice disappears. A practice that once acknowledged a woman's condition can become harmful when enforced without understanding. Over generations, many communities inherited the routine, but not the explanation. The action survived, the meaning faded, and slowly, what may have begun as care became control. What may have begun as concern became judgment. What may have begun as accommodation became exclusion. For many women, this resulted in humiliation, emotional pain, and feelings of isolation. These experiences are real, and they should never be dismissed. Acknowledging the possibility of an original purpose does not erase the suffering some women have experienced. History is rarely a choice between complete praise and complete condemnation. More often, it is a mixture of wisdom and misunderstanding, preservation and distortion, intention and misinterpretation. We have been asking the wrong question. Instead of asking whether every tradition was entirely right or entirely wrong, we should ask something else. Do we still understand why it existed? Because when purpose disappears, even meaningful traditions become empty routines. And when understanding disappears, respect often disappears with it. Maybe the real challenge is not deciding whether every custom should be preserved. Maybe the challenge is rediscovering the values that gave birth to them: care, dignity, empathy, understanding, respect. To the men watching this, respect is not measured by grand speeches. It is not measured by slogans. It is measured by everyday actions, by patience, by understanding, by kindness, by the willingness to listen before judging. A society that truly respects women is not one that merely praises them with words. It is one that treats them with dignity in practice. And every man who chooses empathy over judgment contributes to that dignity. If you understand the women in your life, if you support them when they need support, if you respect their choices, then you are helping build a society rooted in compassion. And that is something to be proud of. Perhaps Ambubachi Mela offers a lesson far beyond a single festival. A lesson about what happens when traditions lose their context. A lesson about how reverence can become routine, how care can become control, and how meaning can slowly be forgotten. Maybe the answer is neither blind acceptance nor blind rejection. Maybe the answer is understanding. If a woman wishes to rest, let her rest. If she wishes to continue her routine, let her continue. The choice should belong to her, not because tradition demands it, not because modernity demands it, but because respect demands it. And perhaps that is the meaning we need to rediscover. Not shame, not stigma, not division, but dignity for everyone. Thank you for joining me on this journey through history, tradition, and reflection. If this video gave you a new perspective, I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think these customs began as care, restriction, or perhaps a combination of both? If you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Dhaiva Darshana for more stories from Sanātana Dharma, Indian history, philosophy, and mythology. Until next time, may we always continue to learn, understand, and appreciate the timeless wisdom preserved in Sanātana Dharma. Until our next Dhaiva Darshana, may wisdom guide us, devotion sustain us, and Bhagwan bless our path. Hari Om.